this session. And we will go through the presentation, and then at the end, there will be plenty of time for questions. So looking forward to answering all of those. And with that, I'd like to introduce Walnut Hill School for the Arts Head of School, Eric Barber. Eric.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin. Hi, everyone. It's great to see you all. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to this meeting tonight. I'm really excited to be able to share with you the key things that I love about Walnut Hill and also why I chose to be here. So I've got a good hour for us together and would love to take your questions at the end of my chat. I, first of all, want to thank you for your interest in Walnut Hill. I know that there's many school programs that your family could consider, and we consider it an honor to be able to work with your family and pledge that we're here to support your family through every stage of the process. Kevin and his team are a great group of people. They really care about your family. And regardless of what stage of the process that you might be in, they're a phone call or an email away. They're a really giving, caring, smart group of people that I really hope you get to know, because Walnut Hill, as you will learn tonight, is all about relationships. And that relationships begins when you are working with the Office of Admissions. So I'm thrilled to be here and share a little bit about myself, about where the school has been, and also most importantly for you is where we're going into the future. Because if you choose to join our community, it's important for you to know the vision and direction of the school moving forward. So I will first introduce myself. I'm the lucky 13th head of school at Walnut Hill. And I'm in the middle of my second year. And I relocated to Natick from Los Angeles, from the west side of Los Angeles, Santa Monica, Venice area, very different than Natick. I prefer Natick. With my two kids and my wife. It's my first head of school position, but I've been in independent schools for over 20 years. And so I'm a proud graduate of California Institute of the Arts with my MFA in jazz and music, jazz and African-American music. I'm a composer, I'm an improviser, and a saxophonist, and I'm still very active. That's one of the things that really called me to this position, was to have my artistic mind and soul and my administrative mind and soul together in service to one incredible school with an incredible mission to educate and develop the most promising young artists in the world, which is really what we do here incredibly well. I went from Cal Arts to Lakeside School, my first independent school. I've been now at 4 top-tier independent schools in the US. Lakeside, I would regard as sort of the day school equivalent of Andover in terms of the level of academics, the level of achievement of the students, the diversity of the student body. And most recently, I'm coming from Crossroads School for Arts and Sciences in Los Angeles, which is a K-12 school of 1,200 students. So about quadruple the size of Walnut Hill. And Crossroads is a progressive school, very dedicated to human development, and that opening up lanes of excellence for every single child based on who they are as a person. And so I come to you with backgrounds in both highly rigorous academic settings and also highly humanistic settings in terms of how do you offer joy and challenge to every single child where they're at that moment in time to allow them to reach their full human potential. That's what keeps me in education, is the ability for us as a school to reach every single kid and bring them forward into the person that they're meant to be. That's really what I believe in as an educator. So for me, I wanted to share with you a few other reasons that brought me to Walnut Hill. Certainly the artistic excellence of the kids and the faculty attracted me here. The pronounced commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion brought me here. We have a worldwide student body with a really wide variety of identities represented on campus and a strong commitment to supporting them. But really, this mission statement was one of the things that drew me here, and I want you to take a look at it for a moment. There's a couple of things that stand out to me that really, as a candidate, made Walnut Hill an appealing place to be, which is creative and intellectually curious. I've been at some of the best independent schools in the country, And what I love about Walnut Hill is we deliver on that promise of a college prep academic program, but overlaid with a pre-professional arts program. And there's very few places in the world that do that and do it really well. And so we want our students to be really top level with their art. But we want them to be intellectually informed, critical thinkers, ability to pick apart an idea, share with their peers. And in our student choreographic projects this last weekend that I went and saw the show of, when you listen to the artist statements of the dancers who were choreographing, it was evident they are very, very smart kids who need that intellectual grounding to be able to execute the level of art that they want to execute. And the second part of the mission statement that really resonates with me is to make an enduring impact in the world. And so if you choose to join Walnut Hill, which I hope you do, you're not only part of a school that's educating the students for the now and the next chapter, meaning their college, conservatory, or company training, but also for life. And I joined Walnut Hill because I believe that the arts have always been a critical component of fostering social change, and that artists have always been, the great artistic movements have always been the ones that anticipated social change and what society needed, or pushed us when we didn't pay attention to that about what our society needs to be, deliver on the promise that we make as a nation or as a world to our kids. So the mission statement for me is really important at Walnut Hill. And these are some shots from the last few weeks, some snow, some shows, some celebrations. We get to witness the joy here every day. And I know that you don't yet have that opportunity, but I wanted to share a few of these images with you, the work, the play, and the celebration that I am really thrilled to have the dream job of being the head of school of every day. Our school motto, not for ourselves alone. And I think that, for me, that dovetails with the enduring impact in the world. So you may not know this, but before we were an arts school, we were a girls' school for 80 years. And we just finished celebrating 50 years as an art school. And I meet with alumni who are 80, 90, even 100 years old that really take this motto to heart. It means a great deal to them, as it does to our current students and our current, past alumni. But to be an artist at the level that Walnut Hill expects you to be, you inherently have to be pretty self-absorbed, right? To dedicate the time, to be disciplined, to dedicate yourself to excellence in that way, you have to prioritize yourself. But at Walnut Hill, our community is also a paramount concern, and we make sure that our students understand the world around them, the community around them, and they actually understand that the way for them to reach their individual level of excellence is to be part of the collective level of excellence. And that's particularly true in dance and in music and in theater that are very collective arts, but it's also true for visual art and our writing, film, and media arts program. So this motto means a lot to me and a lot to the community here at Walnut Hill. And the last slide that I'll show you, this kind of an overview of who we are our 5 core values. And I, like Kevin, I was an admission officer for a lot of my career. And what I advise parents and guardians on when they were looking and selecting schools was actually look at the core values of a school and then actually equate whether the school prioritized time, energy, and financial resources toward those core values. You'll see if the school that you're interested in is walking the talk. And I encourage you to do that for all the schools you're looking at. We really do. And so I've talked about excellence a lot, but I want to talk about growth in terms of we meet our students where they are and we bring them forward, as I mentioned earlier, to that person that they were meant to be, not only the artist they were meant to be, but the person that they are meant to be, through a very creative approach in arts and academics and a focus on respect, compassion, and community. So when you talk to Walnut Hill kids about their experience here, the number one thing they talk about is community, that they feel often for the very first time in their lives, they feel like they belong somewhere, that they've found their people, that they've got peers and adults who understand their unique motivations and their passions, and that because of that, now they can actually spread out. Now they can actually get down to the real work they want to do because they feel high senses of inclusion and belonging. So these are our 5 core values that it's my job to make sure that we're living out every single day. And some more shots to show you some visual art exhibitions on the top left, window painting around the holidays on the upper right. We have a lot of traditions at Walnut Hill, like Boar's Head. This is me and our admin team dressed up as Disney characters, kind of for our winter ball, our winter dinner. It's been happening at the school for 100 years. It's called Boar's Head. It's really fun. Kids in the test kitchen on a weekend doing a student activity. And then our Grammy Award-winning Parker Quartet on the bottom left, in resonance with our students and presenting for the whole community. So just some snapshots of what I get to experience every day. Our dancers with their faculty, students at the head's house, my home, in affinity groups, having a great game night connecting. Our students on the bottom right, the cast from Dear Edwina signing autographs for school-age kids. We invite the whole community to come for our children's play. And then our faculty presenting at a national conference. So for a small school of 285 kids, there's a lot happening here. We're a very complex school at a very small scale, which is really beneficial for your kids. And lastly, I would say in this area, we were very honored to win the Art Schools Network Excellence in Schools Award for 2023. We're the only high school given that award. This is a national consortium of arts schools, public and private, along with some colleges. And they recognize Walnut Hill as basically the exemplar school in the country, in North America, for 23-24 school year. And we get to that by living out our core values that I mentioned earlier. But I'm really proud of that. It's a great honor to be bestowed the honor by schools that are like yours, that are art schools that really understand where we're coming from and why we do what we do. So with that, I will sort of segue into another part of my talk, which is getting into the now and making sure you understand we have our core values and our mission and our motto. How do those play out for students and the community during a school year? As the head of school, I chart out certain priorities every year that we're gonna direct resources and time and energy and attention to. And we have three for this year that I think you should know and hopefully appreciate. So the first one is deepening trust and relationships with colleagues, our students, and their families. We're a boarding school and a day school, and I think if you're looking at being a boarder here, we have a huge responsibility to maintain what I call the trust horizon. And the farther away you move from home and moving to a school, when you're in kindergarten and your parent sends you around the corner or down the street to a school, we as parents are worried about you, but we also trust that you're close to home, that we can get to school very easily, and that you're being well taken care of. As you get older and older up through college, the trust horizon widens, and it's important for us as a school to make sure that we have all of our families' trust and they feel that the students are being well served by our colleagues here. So this is something we put a lot of time into, in particular this school year, to make sure that we're delivering on our mission, but also that we have highly satisfied families in the school. The second priority is around collaboration and communication. As I said, we're a small school, but very complex. We have 5 arts majors and an academic program, a residential life program, a DEIB office, all in a school of 285. And it might sound odd, but even in a small school like Walnut Hill, it's easy to get siloed into our own area. And a big thing that I brought as a leader is de-siloing and being one school to benefit our kids, that we have conversations around what's best for students and very student-centered decision-making, and that the math head is talking to the theater head and the dance head is talking to the director of college counseling, and that all the adults who are in charge have an exchange that really benefits parents and guardians and the students and each other. Because when we're collaborating and sharing resources, the return on that goes up for everyone. So it's something we're really working on very hard at Walnut Hill. The third priority and the final one is strengthen the school's enrollment, reputation, fundraising efforts, and finances. And that's the case for many independent schools. We do not receive government funding. We do not receive, corporate grants, things like that. We raise all of our money ourselves through tuition, summer programs, and philanthropy. And so making sure the school is well known. We have students from 20 countries and 27 states currently, approximately, and that's a large audience to reach as a small school. So we need to put a lot of effort into that. And also still coming a year and a half coming out of the pandemic, Kevin and his team would travel all over the world recruiting, and we're rebooting that. But we need to make sure that people really know who we are, but more importantly, who we are now and where we're going, to make sure that we're offering the best education possible for your student. So those are the priorities that I'm working on with the adult community this year, but also with the parents and the kids. I shared those with both stakeholder groups. And I often show this slide. I'm not sure if you've seen this when you've met with the admission team, but I think it's really important for you to see for a variety of reasons. But this is our weekly school schedule. So this is not a schedule of a theater student or a dance student or a music student, et cetera, specifically, but it's the schedule that all of our students, all the majors fit into. And so the morning blocks, A, B, C, and D are the academic blocks with lunch. And then you see some special time every day in the pink. And then from 2 o'clock on, it's arts training, it's arts classes. And then beyond that, Tuesday nights, we have our DEI block, which is affinity group time and other special events, and also homework, dorm time, and rehearsals. So and then on Saturday, dance and music have programming as well. So my point is, I'm going to venture to say this is a much longer school day than your student is experiencing right now, but it's also an integrated school day. I know some of you, you go to your school, and then after school, you go to your arts. And here you have it all in one place, which is a big advantage of coming to Walnut Hill. But my point is, from a financial point of view, that our students at Walnut Hill receive 30% at least more teaching than a regular high quality boarding school that goes from 8 to 3 with sports after school. So this school going till 5:30, 6:30, that's direct instruction in really small classes. And so I know for many families, the tuition seems like it can be a lot for certain families. You're getting way more. You're not only getting 30% more instructional time, you're getting an integrated experience, a really top level of community where kids find their people and really find their stride in terms of what they're there to do. So I showed that to our current parents a lot, so they remember why they're sacrificing in many cases to make the tuition happen for their student. And on the same note, I want to show you who your student's team is. So we ask an awful lot of our kids, right? It's a very long school day. They have their academic homework. They have homework for their arts classes. Many of our students are in the practice rooms or the studios till 10 at night, if they so choose, doing their work, whether they're a day student or a boarding student. And so it's rigorous in terms of what we expect. And so in relationship to that, our students should have a very robust team of adults who are supporting them, nurturing their artistic growth, their academic growth, and their social emotional growth. And so here in this slide, you have the student's advisor. If they're a boarder, you have their dorm parents. Each of them have 3 sets of dorm parents. They all will have a class dean for their grade, their arts department chair, of course, you as parents and guardians. We have 2 full-time counselors for 285 kids, which is a huge commitment. We have our nursing team, 3 full-time nurses, our international support coordinator, Rachel Kadish, for our international students, ELL faculty who are quite close with some of our international students in that program, and of course, their faculty, their head of school, their assistant head of school. My point is a really huge team. And when I've talked to other folks at other schools, they remark that at their school, many times their student would be lucky to have half this number of trusted adults on their team. So my point is, with high expectations should come high support. And I really believe in that. That's a magic formula to help our students perform at the level that they perform at. So I hope that resonates with you, and you see how many adults have eyes on your kid. It's very difficult to fall through the cracks at Walnut Hill. We really invest a lot in the support of our students. So that's my sort of global talk on the school. Now I'm going to give you some kind of news around what we've been up to, and then where we're headed, and then open it up for questions. So I hope you have some questions to ask me. I'd love to chat with you. But this is for this fall, some of the things that we've accomplished, in addition to all the exhibitions, the performances, things that would be kind of a baseline for Walnut. Here are some things you might not know about what we've been up to this fall. So investing in our students, these are all new things that we've done this fall. So we launched our first global discovery trip to Siena, Italy for our 10th graders. They had an amazing time. They were there 2 weeks during our January term, and we will be adding subsequent domestic and international trips next year. We started evening study labs that were free of charge, homework help, executive function help, math and writing help in the evenings for day and boarding students, free of charge that we hadn't had before. That had been really helpful. Our January term, which is 3 weeks in January, where we depart from the usual academics and do really interesting project-based courses that our students want, really was a huge success this year. Some of our students take courses in the Global Online Academy, which is a consortium of schools like Andover, Lakeside, Harvard-Westlake, independent schools that offer online courses for the schools in that consortium of really, really bright kids. Now there's certificate programs kids can go through. So if there's a language that we don't offer at Walnut Hill, for example, or a pathway through STEM, for example, kids can get that certification through GOA, in addition to the great courses they take at Walnut Hill. We changed our food vendor. That was a huge add. Our kids love the food. 3 meals a day for most of them, whether they're day or boarding. Food really matters, and they're loving the vendor that we have. And then we made a lot of improvements in the arts majors this year, including drastically increasing the number of dance hours in the ballet program, getting more off-site experiences in theater for our theater students, inviting the Parker Quartet to be the Grammy Award-winning quartet in residence for music, getting more guest artists and equipment for the WFMA program, and a number of capital upgrades for the visual art department that have allowed our students to make much higher quality work. So all that happened this fall as you were looking at us, among many other things. But I hope that gives you an idea that we're a school of continuous improvement. Every single year as the head of school, I want to give more and more and more access and value to the students every single year, because they deserve it. It's their education that we're serving. Also, we want to invest in our adults. It's really important. So the top photo here these are all of our new adults to Walnut Hill this year. They're an incredibly talented group. I've been told by some old timers that they are probably the highest level group coming in new to Walnut Hill in terms of their expertise. I was thrilled to know that as the first year head who recruited them with a lot of help. But it's my job and our job to take care of them. Our ability to take care of them well directly benefits your kids. So part of my job is the care and keeping of students and their families, but also the care and keeping of adults. It's really important. So our assistant head, our dean, and our associate director all moved into the academic building where most of the faculty are. They were over where my office is before, which didn't make a lot of sense. And that's been a big support for our faculty. We have a pilot this year on mindfulness training for our faculty. You saw that long school day. Stress management is something we really need to center in terms of supporting our students. And one of our teachers is doing a pilot to train faculty on how to instill mindful practices for stress management for adults and for kids. We're also in the middle of a 2-year diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging training program for all of our employees so that they have the toolkit in the classroom to have successful relationships with every single one of your students, and that they appreciate and value your students' identity and all the dimensions of that shows up on our campus and in our classroom. It's really important that we as an adult community have a common toolkit and framework on how to work with your students. And lastly, we have begun a sister relationship with a high school in Finland that wants to learn from us about the arts and wants us to learn about the Finnish system of education, which is regarded as one of the highest educational systems in the world. So we are beginning that partnership, and next year we'll begin an exchange back and forth every year so that we can learn from each other. Two really great schools, but who have different strengths, who can learn from one another. So those are some of the ways we're investing into our adult community. And then lastly, this is not the most glamorous thing to talk about, but I think it's very important. School safety remains a top topic in education in the country. We have an incredibly secure campus, with keyed access to every building. And that's not enough. We need to be prepared for not only things like intruders and emergencies like that, but also weather emergencies. And if a power goes out on the campus, how do we respond and take care of your kids the best we can? So we're doing a lot of preparation and upping the ante of the kind of drills that we're doing this year, along with security cameras and strengthening our relationship with the local police and fire departments. It's really important to be a part of the town that we're in, and we're very, very lucky to be between two fire stations. So anytime a fire alarm goes off at Walnut Hill, the first responders are here within a matter of seconds. But we need to make sure that we have all the tools necessary to keep the entire community safe. That's our primary job. So that's sort of what's happened this fall. I want to share with you some of the press and some of the exposure that the school has received, because it's important for you to know that we're a national school with a national and international reputation. And when that's the case, that's something you invest in and cultivate so that you can continue to attract the highest quality families that you can, and also attract the highest quality adults that you can. So we were one of the only independent schools in the country to sponsor the National Association of Independent Schools People of Color Conference, at which over 8,000 educators attended. It was really a great conference for our teachers. We had two teachers present at the National Council of Teachers of English and American Council of Teachers of Foreign Language. These are national conferences that are very hard to get presentations in, and our faculty did amazingly well and brought a lot of visibility to Walnut Hill. This slide's more about my own travels as head of school. So part of my job is to make sure the reputation of the school is very healthy and very strong, and that people know us in a variety of places around the country and around the world. So this is a short list of the places that I've visited just this fall to build relationships with, to make sure they know that Walnut Hill is a global arts leader at the high school level. And some of these organizations, after my meeting, want to work with us directly, some sort of partnership to elevate their mission, but also to elevate our mission. And I'm excited by that work. And it's great to go around and go to professional level theater companies and orchestras and dance companies as a high school and have that kind of reputation to even get an audience with them. And I just returned from DC last week, where I was honored with meeting with the president of the Kennedy Center and talking to her about how Walnut Hill and the Kennedy Center might be able to work together in the future. And this last slide, we had 9 students recognized in the Young Arts program. That was more than any other school in the country. That's a program in Miami for top level visual and performing artists. And along these opportunities, we had 5 music students featured on the NPR nationally syndicated show From the Top, where after I asked a year ago, they did a whole show just on Walnut Hill, which is the first time they've ever profiled a high school in the program. I encourage you, especially you music majors, to go online and check it out. It's our students performing. It's a really beautiful, beautiful show that gives you a good idea of why NPR would care about Walnut Hill and want to give us that national airtime, because our kids are really special. So moving on, I have 2 more things to show you and then open it up for questions. What's on tap for this semester? what's happening, what's coming down the pike. So we have some great residencies. For music, our Parker Quartet residency continues. Friday, we have Sananda Sahai coming in. Her work is on the upper right. She's a expert in the Mahubani painting tradition of India, and it's open to all of our kids to come and learn about this ancient, really important art form from India. And then Jennifer Fink, an alum, is coming to do a residency in March around what does it mean to have disabilities, and how has our society embraced or rejected the notion of disability. And she's going to work with our kids, our faculty, and our parents actually during her time. And then the 4 conferences are it's a selection of 4 conferences this spring that our students can attend that relate to different identities that they hold, and to go be around more students that share those identities as well. So a lot happening in the spring alongside all of our shows, all of our performances, all of our exhibitions. We're also working hard on making sure that that we're always having class, that we've got substitute teachers, proctors at the ready. Even though we're not in the pandemic anymore, teachers get sick. We need to make sure during a national teacher shortage that we are not only fully staffed, but fully prepared when a teacher needs to be away. As I mentioned earlier, we've applied for a mindfulness director grant through Whole School Mindfulness. It's a foundation that will grant us a part of a position to institutionalize a mindfulness director to teach our adults and students how to manage their mind and how to train their mind and manage their stress level. I announced to our theater students today that a generous anonymous donor has stepped up to fund the entire department going to Broadway for the day in April, including the Museum of Broadway, visit a talk back with Peter Van Dam, who's an alum and a casting director in New York, and then see Sweeney Todd on Broadway with Nick Christopher, our alum, playing the role of Pirelli. They get to do that all together, which is really should be a core part of their education, experiencing high quality music, high quality film, high quality theater together as a group, because kids want to talk about that together, and also make sure that all of our kids are getting exposure to that, regardless of their family's income or background with theater. And then last is launching a reimagined summer program, which some of our current families and certainly prospective families are excited about. So this is Kevin and his team. We've got a great summer planned. Pardon me. These are the camps that we're offering. They're boarding and day options. And I think what's neat about these programs is that some of them, you could be a violinist, but sign up for the fashion immersion camp, right? You could really explore something different. Or if you're an incoming voice student, sign up for the summer and voice intensive, get a head start on Walnut Hill. So we're excited about that, opening the campus to the greater community. And then for next school year, which would be the school year that you would join us in, there's a few highlights that I want to share with you. As I mentioned, we will be creating additional trips, both domestic trips and international trips. During spring break and January term, the Finland exchange will be starting. We are refashioning part of our student life team to be directly focused on student support and be more of the case manager for students with learning differences, students who are having challenges, that this reimagined role will be the lead case manager in charge of their success, and also communicating what the students' needs are with the teaching faculty. We will have free study halls next year in the evening block from residents who are living on campus, and then we'll also have greater opportunities for day students to stay in the dorms if a family's out of town or they need to be here near a production. We're formalizing that program as well. So a lot of great things. And then in the arts, some really amazing things happening. So in the WFMA program, we are going to grow as a program and add additional staff and additional coursework to that program. So if that's a program you're looking at a really ideal time. It's already incredible, but it's time to take it to the next level. For our dance program, actually this week we have our new incoming director of the professional division, Jose Martin Trujillo. I just had dinner with him before this call. He will be here taking us to that next chapter for the dance program. And also with the ballet, you'll receive an email from me and Mikko Nisanen from Boston Ballet around the next level. We're taking the program to programmatically, bringing the best of the ballet programming to Walnut Hill. In music, the Parker Quartet residency will continue into next year, and we'll be giving more attention to growing our jazz program. And then next year in theater, we will have a new director of theater as well. Joe Cabral is retiring after 31 years of tremendous service to the school, and we will have some significant capital upgrades in the parent theater in the Kiter Performing Arts Center. And then for visual art, we're going to finish off the rest of the capital upgrades so that students are making their best work. So that's just a sampling of what's going to be happening in the school next year. And I hope that it gets you excited and interested in being here next year. So I will close out with our strategic plan. And I do appreciate, I know this is a lot of talking from one person, but I'm also excited about the school, and I want you to know the highlights of me, the school, what we care about, and where we're headed. So in my first year as head of school, with the board of trustees and many staff and faculty, and actually 2 students, we crafted a strategic plan with a leading strategic plan consultant. And strategic plans, really, they're not school improvement plans. They're a plan that takes a school from wherever they are and really leapfrogs them to a whole nother level. And so our strategic plan, really what it's meant to do is take an already world-class arts high school and vault us to be the preeminent arts high school in the world. That is what I was hired to do by the board. That is my job. And a vehicle to help you accomplish that is by having a very robust strategic plan. And so really a strategic plan is 5 years long often, but it should have a 10-year impact. 10 years down the road, we're reaping the benefits of these strategic initiatives that we took a lot of time and resources to implement to make our school not just incrementally better, but vastly and reach the dreams and the promise that we all want for Walnut Hill. So there are 5 areas of the plan, and this is the plan that would be happening over your students' time here. So I think it's important for you to know where we're going, and you'll see there's 5 strategic priorities. Within the 5 priorities, there are 20 discrete strategic initiatives. That's a lot, but it shows you how dedicated we are to the next chapter, both during this next 5 years, but also 10, 15, 20 years down the road. This is what schools do to remain relevant and to be leaders in the marketplace. So I'm very excited about all 5 of them. I would say that for most schools, a financial goal priority is pretty standard. An educational goal is pretty standard, number 3. And a number 4, wellness and belonging, especially after the pandemic, is very standard to focus on. Number 2 and number 5 are unique to Walnut Hill, where we are right now. So we want to be, and in many ways already are, the preeminent high school for the arts in the world. That's why kids come from all over the world to be here. But we want to expand our presence and our reach even more, because we know that that's who we are and who we serve. And then priority number 5, a master plan. That's very, very important to know how we want to use and develop our campus into the next decade for the maximum impact for our students and for our faculty. So within the 20 initiatives, I'm not going to show you all 20. That would be that's a whole talk unto itself. But I want to show you just 3 of the initiatives right now that we have in motion that I think you'll find interesting, that definitely have impact for your students. And so the first one comes out of our Transform Walnut Hills Education goal. And there's 5 or 6 goals under this priority. But the first one we need to take on, as many schools are, is really talking about artificial intelligence. Our kids are using it. Many of them are in their academic work, in their artistic work, for fun. Many of our faculty are using it. And so it's very important for Walnut Hill to take a stand on now and into the future, how does AI and other technologies factor into our educational platform? Ignoring that is not a wise decision at this point. We need to engage and have robust conversations around what the implications are for these technologies in education and specifically in an art school. What is the definition of original work for our students with AI? What is original work for faculty? Those are really important topics that we need to tackle. So the goal is really to develop a position statement that embodies our values and be a North Star for us about policies, because the technology will quickly change every year, but our position needs to be the North Star and sort of the constant, so we're not constantly reacting to new technologies as they emerge. So I think that's very important for especially the students on this call. These are tools at your disposal right now that you need support and guidance around how to use responsibly, but also use strategically in your art form in particular. So the second one I wanted to share with you is around wellness and belonging. We have 5 fully fleshed out strategic goals here, but the first one that we're taking on this year is understanding our community better and do a full audit, a health and wellness audit that's evidence-based, that's data-based, and that we can then use that information to look at our policies and our practices and actually how we have student support set up at Walnut Hill and make sure that we're doing the right thing for our students of 2024 and beyond, and also making sure that moving forward, we're ready to evolve. And so this is a slide from the vendor that we've chosen to do our survey. They're called Authentic Connections. They're a really outstanding firm. But these are things that we're all dealing with. Kids, teachers, and parents and guardians. These are just realities that we face together as adults in support of our kids. And what do we do about it? It's really important that we're engaged and in partnership with one another to support the health and well-being of our kids. And so we'll do an assessment. We'll use the evidence to focus our attention, and then the firm will give us recommendations about our community and what they think we should be focusing our time and energy on. So in April, we will be surveying our students. So an in-depth survey on mental health, both including relationships, belonging, inclusion, and engagement. That's not just am I sad? Am I depressed? Am I not? It's about your sense of attachment to the school is really important. And also about our students' resilience. What's the fragility level of our students, or what's the resilience level of our students? We will also survey our faculty and staff around their engagement, how they feel the climate is in their own mental health, anonymously, of course, all these are anonymous, and our parents and guardians. What's your sense of your child? What's your sense of their engagement? What's your sense of your satisfaction with Walnut Hill? That's a much more comprehensive deep dive than I thought we would be able to access. And we're going to be doing this for 3 years. And that's why it's important for me to share with you that for 3 years, we will take this and it'll become longitudinal data that will become our North Star around policies, departments, and really an integrated student wellness plan that will be coming down in the next 12 to 18 months. It's really, really exciting. I think Walnut Hill can be an exemplar of how we champion health and wellness for young artists. And the last goal that I'm going to share with you, the last part, is our master plan. And, as a 130-year-old school, we have a beautiful campus. I hope if you haven't visited, I hope you choose to visit during your time in the applicant pool. It's a beautiful place to be a kid, and it's a beautiful place to grow up. But many of our buildings were built to be a girls' school, not an art school. And so we need to look, we have some beautiful spaces that are built for the arts, but we need to dream big and look ahead to the needs of the campus in the next 5 years, but really in the next 10 to 20 years, and plan accordingly, and then secure the financial resources, the philanthropic resources to be able to achieve that vision. But it's about our school, but it's about how does the campus affect, for example, the mental health and well-being of our students? That's an important question to answer or ask when you're in master planning mode. So that's a very exciting project, where a lot of stakeholders will be interviewed around what are the hopes and wishes and dreams of the campus. So a very exciting time. And my last couple of slides are to show you with the strategic plan what's on tap. So these are the 9 initiatives we're launching this year out of 20, which is very ambitious. And development campus assessment is master planning, marketing, enrollment plan, development, recruitment of employees, using generational research to make sure we're attracting in each age group the most talented faculty and staff we can. The health and wellness audit, exploring an interdisciplinary major. Walnut Hill, right now we ask our students to choose one area, but we're seeing more kids who are Walnut Hill ready in multiple areas, which is pretty amazing. And how do we serve them? Pathways for academically talented students as a small school for students that want a very rigorous academic experience, which we already offer. How do we have more delineated pathways for those students who really see that as a core part of their time here? AI, as well, as I mentioned. So those are the 9 that we're kicking off. And then next year, continuing the master plan, looking at the student services plan and global partnerships. So how does Walnut Hill become the nexus point for high school arts education in the world? Pardon me. I believe it'll be through a pretty robust web of very strategic partnerships that focuses time and energy to Walnut Hill. So Kevin, with that, I thank you everyone for your attention. I know that was a lot of content, but I also want you to be excited with me and get to know me a little bit and the things that I care about. And I would love to take any questions that families have for the rest of the time.